afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First, I'd like to inform Chairman that the quorum is present. Right now, quorum is 30 people, and we are already having about, I think, 32 people have already logged in. So the quorum is there. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I, Naveen Kumar Jain, Executive Director and Company Secretary, welcome you to 27th Annual General Meeting of the members of the company, which is being held through video conferencing as permitted by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs and Securities and Exchange Board of India. In terms of Article 92 of the Articles of Association and Clause 5.1 of the Secretarial Standard SS2 issued by the Institute of Company Secretaries of India and approved by the central government under Section 118 subsection 10 of the Companies Act 2013, the directors present at the meeting shall elect one of themselves to be the chairman of the meeting. Now I request one of the directors to propose chairman for the meeting.
Good afternoon. I'm Adesh Gupta. I propose Sri Najib Shah as the chairman of the meeting.
Sir, it is to be seconded by one of the director.
Chandru sir, you're on mute. I second the motion. I also second the motion to make Mr. Najib Shah the chairman.
I second the motion. Yeah, both of us. Go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Shri Adesh Kumar Gupta ji, and thank you, Shri Anand and Shri Chandrasekharan. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Najib Shah, Independent Director of the company and also Chairman of the Nomination and Remuneration Committee, attending this meeting through video conferencing from Bangalore. I am informed that all the directors and KMPs are attending this AGM from their respective locations through video conferencing. I would like to introduce my eminent colleagues in the board. Shri Adesh Kumar Gupta, Independent Director and Chairman of the Audit Committee.
Good afternoon, shareholders. I am Adesh Kumar Gupta, Independent Director of the company, attending this meeting through video conferencing from my residence in Mumbai.
Shri V. Chandrasekharan, Non-Executive Director and Chairman of the Stakeholders Relationship Committee.
Good afternoon, shareholders. I am V. Chandrasekharan, Non-Executive Director of the company, attending this meeting through video conferencing from my residence in Mumbai. Thank you.
Ms. Sonal Desai, Independent Director and Chairman of the Risk Management Committee.
Good afternoon, shareholders. I am Sonal Desai, Independent Director of the company, attending this meeting through video conferencing from my residence at Mumbai.
Shri Anant Narayan Gopalakrishnan, Independent Director and Chairman of the Rating Subcommittee.
Good afternoon, shareholders. I am Anant Narayan Gopalakrishnan, Independent Director of the company, attending this meeting through video conferencing from my residence in Mumbai.
We have another Independent Director, Dr. M. Mathisekharan, who is the Chairman of the CSR Committee. He has, because of some exigencies, requested to be condoned from attending this meeting. Shri Ajay Mahajan, MD and CEO of your company.
Good afternoon, shareholders. I am Ajay Mahajan, MD and CEO of Care Ratings. I am attending this meeting from my office in Mumbai.
Shri Bharat Adnani, CFO of your company.
Good afternoon, shareholders. I am Bharat Adnani, Chief Financial Officer of the company. I am attending the meeting through my office at Mumbai.
Thank you. We have also representatives of Messrs. Khimji, Kunverji and Co., Chartered Accountants, the statutory auditors, Mr. Gautam Shah, Partner, and Mr. Devesh Shah. Messrs. A.K. Jain and Co., Company Secretaries, the secretarial auditors, Mr. A.K. Jain and Mr. Mahesh O. are attending this meeting. Messrs. T.R. Chadda and Co., LLP, Chartered Accountants, internal auditors, attending this AGM through audio conferencing from Mumbai. Mr. Kashyap Vaidya is attending this meeting. Mr. Ashish Jain, Practicing Company Secretary Scrutinizer, is also attending this AGM through video conferencing from Mumbai. Before I go into the chairman's speech, I would like to take you through some administrative details. Due to the social distancing norms and in order to ensure safety of the members and employees of the company during the times of COVID-19, this AGM is being held through virtual mode. The shareholders have been provided the facility to join the meeting through video conferencing and for e-voting being provided by NSDL. The facility of joining the AGM through video conferencing is being made available to the members on a first-come, first-served basis. All the members joining this meeting are by default placed on mute, more to avoid any background noise disturbance and to ensure smooth and seamless conduct of the meeting. During the question and answer session, the names of the registered speaker shareholder will be announced, who will thereafter be unmuted by the host of the AGM and will be allowed to express their views, ask questions. We would request that each speaker restrict themselves to 3 minutes and to ensure that this time limit is adhered to for effective conduct of the meeting. The speaker shareholders are requested to click the audio and video button while speaking. If for any reason the shareholder is unable to join through video mode, the shareholder is advised to switch off the camera video and speak through audio mode. If there is a connectivity problem at the speaker's end, we will ask the next speaker to join the meeting. Once connectivity improves, the previous speaker shareholder will be called back to speak. During the meeting, if members face any technical issue, he or she may call the helpline number of NSDL as mentioned in the notice of the AGM. Speaker shareholders are requested to minimize any background noises to avoid any disturbances. While speaking, we would request the speaker to use the earphone so that he or she is clearly audible. The speaker shareholders are requested to be loud and clear while speaking so as to enable us to note the questions correctly. Please note that as per the requirements, the proceedings of the AGM will be recorded and will be made available on the website of the company. The company secretary has informed us that the requisite quorum for the AGM is present, so I call this meeting to order. Since this AGM is being held electronically, physical attendance of the members have been dispensed with and the requirement of appointing proxy is not available. The registrars are required by the Companies Act 2013 and the certificate from the statutory auditors on compliance of ESOP have been made available electronically for inspection by the members during the AGM. Members seeking to inspect such documents can send the request to investors.relations@careratings.com. Members who did not vote earlier through remote e-voting may vote electronically during the course of the meeting. Since the notice of the AGM is already circulated to all the members, I take the notice of the meeting as read. As the report of the statutory auditors and the secretarial auditors does not contain any qualifications or adverse remarks, I take the same as read. That concludes my rather long but necessary details for the meeting. Let me now move on to the speech itself. Good afternoon yet again, dear shareholders, and welcome to the 27th Annual General Meeting of CARE Ratings. We are living in anxious times, in times most unusual. Nothing exemplifies this more than the fact that we have, as has been the case with other AGMs held this year, been compelled to conduct our AGM through video conferencing. But there's certainly one advantage in having the meeting in the non-physical mode. Technology enables us to reach out to a larger number of shareholders. This obviously is not possible in the conventional mode, where only those shareholders residing in Mumbai are able to interact with us. So thank you for being present here today on this web-based AGM. I will strive to be brief, as I'm sure you've all had time to read our annual report to understand our performance. The speech will be in 3 parts, where I will talk of the macro environment in which we operated to begin with, followed by our performance during the year, and finally our thoughts on the prospects for the next financial year. We will then take questions from the shareholders and spend more time in addressing them. First, the macroeconomic environment. Fiscal 2019-20 started off on an optimistic note, where we all expected the economy to revive on the back of higher investments and consumption. The RBI was generally accommodative in its stance on interest rates, while the government took several steps to address the major cog in the financial system, the NBFCs. The RBI during the year slashed the repo rate by 185 basic points from 6.25% as of March 2019 to 4.4% in March 2020. The RBI has also maintained an accommodative monetary policy throughout the year. However, the final outcomes were disappointing. The announcement of the lockdown in the last week of March upset the plans of all corporates, and the usual ramping up of production towards the year end did not take place. thus leading to rather disappointing macroeconomic numbers. Let me take you through some of the major economic indicators which have a bearing on the quantum of money borrowed in the debt and credit markets, and which finally has a bearing on the volume of debt that is rated. The Indian economy slowed down, with GDP moderating to 4.2% in 2019-20, the lowest rate in 2011-12 GDP series, compared with 6.1% witnessed in 2018-19. The investment rate in the economy declined during 2019-20 to 26.9%, which is the lowest rate since 2000-2001. Industrial output, going by the Index of Industrial Production, contracted by 0.7% in 2019-20. Bank credit growth declined to a 33-year low of 6.1% in 2019-20, compared with 13.3% in the previous year. Now, what matters to us is growth in credit to manufacturing and services, as this is a pool that is and can be rated. Growth in credit to the manufacturing sector was lower at 1.7% as against 6.9% in FY19, while MSMEs witnessed negative growth. Growth in credit to services was lower at 11.2% as against 16.8% in FY19. In 2019-20, total corporate bond issuances aggregated 6.9 lakh crores, 6.6% higher than the issuances of 6.46 lakh crores in 2018-19. Among sectoral issuances, the highest was banking and term lending at 35%, followed by financial services at 17%, house finance at 13%. Issuances of housing finance and financial services contracted by 28% and 20% respectively from a year ago. Fresh issuances of commercial paper amounted to 22 lakh crores, 15% lower than 2018-19. And in terms of outstanding CPs, declined by 28.6% over March 31, 2019. It is against this background that our performance should be juxtaposed, as our business is defined by the growth in the rateable pool of funds. The total number of new rating assignments declined by 43% in 2019-20. The moderation can in large part be ascribed to the decline in bank facility ratings. The total volume of new debt rated decreased by 36%, from 19.91 lakh crores in 2018-19 to rupees 12.73 lakh crores in 2019-20, mainly on account of broad-based decrease in debt-rated volumes across categories. This had an impact on our rating income, as the new debt-rated volume had come down. Here I would like to highlight two issues. First, there was an increase in the number of issuer not cooperating INC cases during the year, which meant that the company did not receive fees for surveillances which necessarily had to be done with the available information for these companies. Therefore, in a way, it was a dual challenge for the company, as the new regulatory structure requires credit rating agencies to continue to provide ratings based on best available information, even in cases of non-cooperation from the client. This may be an issue to contend with progressively, even in FY21, where the IMC cases are likely to increase, given that the overall economic conditions are downbeat for the entire year. Second, as you are all aware of the NBFC crisis, which started in FY19, led to defaults by several companies. Now, these companies had moved out of the surveillance bucket, which affected our surveillance income. And since we had a higher share of NBFC business, its impact has been more. But I must inform you that lessons have been learned. We have taken several steps to strengthen our processes. Thus, we have appointed external consultants for a critical look and for suggesting improvements in our processes and systems with a view to modernize them. Some of the initiatives which have been put in place towards improving analytical rigor and transparency were strengthening rating committees by formulation of sector-specific and special committees to handle highly rated, large and complex credits. Better articulation of rating methodologies to ensure similar treatment of credit issues by teams pan-India. Upgrading the existing IT infrastructure as also the information security management systems framework. Development of rating models for many more sectors with a robust validation system. Digitization of rating models to do assessments online with greater potential towards accuracy. Learning and development initiatives for right skilling our employees. use of software to analyze bank statements, redesigning KRAs for employees on the rating operations, increase in due diligence in rating processes, enhanced transparency, and more important, accountability through online voting and documentation. Your company has also revamped the board of directors with a majority of independent directors who bring with them rich and varied experience in finance, economics, regulatory affairs, and insurance industry. This ensures the provision of cutting-edge guidance to the management to take innovative decisions. With business levels, however, coming down and our P&L account reflected the same, total income on a standalone basis for the year ended March 31st, 2020 was at rupees 250.44 crores compared with rupees 327.19 crore for the year which ended in March 2019. For the Care Ratings Group, total income was lower at rupees 275.11 crore compared with rupees 349.36 crore. PAT for the year was at rupees 80.50 crore compared with rupees 134.99 crore in the corresponding previous year. For the group, it was rupees 83.48 crore as against rupees 138.07 crore last year. Your company paid a total interim dividend of rupees 17 per share, amounting to a payout of rupees 60.38 crores, including DDT. The board has recommended a final dividend of rupees 2.50 per share, amounting to a payout of rupees 7.37 crore for FY 2019-20 to be approved in this annual general meeting. The dividend would be paid in compliance with applicable rules and regulations. During the year, your company did witness some regulatory action, which did lead to change in the management structure and board of directors. In July 2019, the board of directors decided that pending the completion of the examination of anonymous complaint received by the SEBI forwarded to Care Ratings to place Mr. Rajesh Mokashi, Managing Director and CEO of Care at that point of time, on leave. The board appointed Mr. T. N. Arun Kumar, the then Executive Director of Ratings, as interim CEO of the company. A forensic audit was commissioned subsequently. On 11th February, Mr. S.B. Mainak, Chairman and Independent Director of the company, tendered his resignation due to personal reasons. On the 14th of February, the board considered the report of the forensic audit, and it has decided to terminate the employment of Mr. Rajesh Mokashi as MD and CEO with effect from the date he was placed on leave, that is 16 July 2019. The board, as advised by SEBI, decided to institute an inquiry into the matter of interference by officials of Care, including the erstwhile chairman, the erstwhile MD and CEO, in the rating process in the last 3 years. While we await the outcome of the inquiry, let me suggest that there is no conclusive evidence that rating outcomes were compromised, as was mentioned earlier. The entire process, however, has been tightened and reviewed. All these developments have been informed to all investors via press releases, which are available also on the websites of the stock exchanges. Let me now turn to prospects. FY21 has begun on an unfortunate note of a pandemic-led lockdown, which is still in force to different degrees across the country. We are not sure of when we would move toward normalcy during this year. The latest economic indicators such as GDP growth, IIP growth, PMIs, and credit growth indicate negative proclivities. However, on the positive side, there has been an improvement in the negative growth numbers in IIP sequentially over the last 2 months. Also, the PMI for manufacturing in August came in at about 50, which is a sign that things are turning around, albeit gradually. We have projected an annual growth rate of minus 6.5% for this year, which is a downward bias. We will be closely monitoring the unlock process, which will guide our forecast, notwithstanding the Q1 GDP growth coming in at around 24%, minus 24%. Therefore, the future of the credit and debt markets remain uncertain. We are nonetheless relentlessly building on our relationships with our customers to maximize business in this environment. Also, as a group, we will be looking at making significant inroads into areas such as structured products and resolution plan ratings through our subsidiaries. As per regulation, we can do only rating business. And at all stages, we plan to be leveraging technology and the use of AI, ML will be the centerpiece. There has been some positive developments too this year. The government's economic package, which includes loan guarantees, bodes well for industry and could be a positive for bank credit. The same holds for the guarantee being given for NBFC borrowing in the bond market. But with economic growth for FY21 to be negative for sure, investments will drop further, and hence buoyancy in the debt and credit markets will be limited and confined to specific sectors and higher rated companies that have not been adversely affected by the lockdown. Any positive recovery in specific sectors on account of unlock can lead to heightened activity, which can change the dynamics in the debt and credit markets. But at this point of time, this will be a matter of conjecture only. Conditions, hence, are necessarily going to be extremely challenging this year, but may we assure you that the teams are geared up to face them, and we will work towards protecting and growing shareholder value. As you are aware, we have appointed a new MD and CEO, Mr. Ajay Mahajan, who brings with him diverse experience and expertise in the financial sector. He would be spearheading the senior management team to take this company forward. He has his plans firmly in place, which are already being implemented to take the company along a different trajectory, and would be focusing on new areas like resolution plan ratings, structured products, securitization business, amongst others. We will be leveraging technology even more effectively to drive these initiatives, which combined with superior market intelligence will deliver better solutions for our customers. We are sanguine that we will come back to you next year with better news on our performance. Until then, please take care, stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you for your kind attention. And thank you, dear shareholders, for your continued belief in Care Ratings. May I now request Shri Naveen Kumar Jain to take you through the procedure for voting.
Thank you, Chairman. Good afternoon, shareholders. In compliance with the Companies Act 2013 and SEBI listing regulations, read with MC and SEBI circulars, the members are provided with the facility to cast their vote electronically through the remote e-voting services administered by NSDL. On all the resolutions set forth in this notice, resolutions as put in the notice are as follows. Number 1, to consider and adopt the audited standalone financial statements and the consolidated financial statements of the company for the financial year ended March 31, 2020, together with the report of the Board of Directors and report of the auditors thereon and other reports. This is the ordinary resolution. Number 2, to confirm payment of 3 interim dividends aggregating to ₹17 per equity share and to declare a final dividend of ₹2.50 per equity share for the financial year 2019-20. This is also an ordinary resolution. 3, to appoint a director in place of Mr. V. Chandrasekaran, DIN 03126243, who retires by rotation and being eligible offers himself for reappointment. It is also an ordinary resolution. Number 4, increase in the authorized share capital of the company and consequent amendment to Memorandum of Association. This is also an ordinary resolution. Number 5, appointment of Mr. Ajay Mahajan, DIN 0510877 as director liable to retire by rotation. This is also an ordinary resolution. Number 6, appointment and approval of remuneration payable to Mr. Ajay Mahajan, DIN 0510877 as the managing director and CEO of company. It is a special resolution. Number 7, grant of employee stock options to the employees of the company under CARE Employee Stock Option Scheme 2020. It is also a special resolution. Number 8, grant of employee stock options to the employees of the subsidiary companies of the company under CARE Employee Stock Option Scheme 2020. Special resolution. Number 9, grant of employee stock option equal to or more than 1% of the issued capital of the company to the identified employees. Special resolution. The members who have not cast their votes on the resolutions as mentioned in the AGM notice by remote e-voting prior to the AGM are provided facility to cast their votes through e-voting system available on the voting page of NSDL during the AGM. Members may visit the e-voting page of NSDL's e-voting website www.evoting.nsdl.com and cast their votes, while at the same time view the proceedings of the meeting. The board has appointed Mr. Ashish Jain, practicing company secretary, to act as the scrutinizer to scrutinize the remote e-voting and the votes cast at the meeting and provide a consolidated result. Since the AGM is held through video conferencing, the resolutions mentioned in the notice convening this AGM have already been put to vote through remote e-voting, and as a facility of voting is also available at the AGM, the process for proposing or seconding of the resolution is not applicable. I now hand over the proceedings to our chairman. Chairman, sir.
The e-voting facility is now open, and members may please go to e-voting page of NSDL website and cast their vote, while at the same time watch the proceedings of the meeting. The e-voting facility will remain open for 15 minutes after the meeting to enable the members to cast their votes. All efforts feasible under the circumstances have been made by the company to enable members to participate and vote on the items being considered in this AGM. We now open the floor for any questions from the shareholders present at the meeting. I'll request Shri Mradul Mishra, the host, to call the names of those shareholders who have registered themselves to speak or ask questions pertaining to the performance of the company during the financial year 2019-20, one by one.
Thank you, sir. Dear shareholders, to conclude the meeting in good time, I request each speaker to be brief, limit the speech to 3 minutes, and to avoid repetition. Once all the speaker shareholders have asked their questions one by one after I call out their names, the same will be answered. From the list, I'll call upon Mr. H.S. Patel. Mr. Patel is not attending the meeting, so I call upon the next speaker, Mr. Vinod Agarwal.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you are audible.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Mr.
Chairman of the meeting, Mr. Najib Shah, MD, Mr. Ajay Mahajan, our company secretary, Naveen Jain, whom I know well, and our other directors of the company, and my fellow shareholders. A very good afternoon. My name is Vinod Agarwal. I'm speaking from Mumbai. Sir, I've got 2 or 3 observations, sir. One is, even before the lockdown, our economy was in a slowdown mode. After the lockdown, the economy has shrank by about 24%, 23.9 to be precise, in Q1 of the current year. The shrinking of the economy has on the balance sheets of the companies adversely. Now, a lot of these companies need borrowings to make the balance sheet to be healthy again and to run their businesses. They'll be needing a lot of borrowings. And even when they need borrowing, they'll have to approach the lenders. Now, are we likely to see a spurt in the rating business from the borrowers and from the lenders to see that these borrowers are credit worthy or not? And this is my first question. My second observation would be, in today's newspaper, there are reports saying that borrowing companies are not cooperating with rating agencies and blaming that the lockdown has not been helpful to them. So now, if you don't get inputs from the companies you are going to rate, how can you give a proper rating to them? Is our organization also facing such issues from borrowing companies not cooperating with us for rating? Page number 20, we see the graphs of the page, which show that all the performance, all the ratings that we've done on page 20 are on a downward trend. Even the on page 21 is the financial, all downwards. Like, do we take the past year as an outlier, and will we return back to the normal in the coming year? And it was sad to see the forceful and unceremonious departures of our previous MD and Mr. Minor, Mr. Mukashi and Minor. I hope we have made our organization more vigilant and compliant after the event, as that event has severely impacted the reputation of our institution and the rating that we give. I hope we will come out of it soon. Sir, I will also like to compliment Mr. Naveen Jain for bringing out such a large annual report in these COVID times when there were no all people working from home and there were no interface meetings. To come out with such a large and colorful annual report is also a very good deed that which Mr. Naveen Jain has done, for which he has to be complimented. I have voted in favor of all the resolutions, sir. Just 1 second, sir. Yeah. Sir, Mr. Ujay, one second. Yeah. Another thing which I've noticed is, hello?
Yeah, please go on. Go on.
Another thing which I've noticed is on page 204, it's on about the notes showing the properties of the company, the assets of the company. Now, in that, there is no office building that we are owning. We have got large surplus funds in bank accounts, in other investments. But we have got office furniture, we have got that furniture, we got other light assets. But office building of our own or one office of our own is lacking. Is it on purpose or why can't we take an office of our own, sir? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Agarwal. Our next speaker for today is Mr. Nirav Chandrakant.
Am I audible?
Yes, Mr. Chandrakant, you can go ahead, please.
Thanks. My name is Nirav, actually. So, respected interim chairman, Mr. Najib Shahji, esteemed member of the board, and my fellow shareholders, very good afternoon to you all from Nirav Chulkar. I'm calling from Surat, and I'm a long-term shareholder in Care Rating. First of all, I would like to extend my warm welcome to our new Managing Director and CEO, Mr. Ajay Mahajan. And I wish him a very long, successful and fruitful stint with Care Rating. And I hope that he can build the shareholders' wealth in his year. So let's quickly move to the questions I have. So my first question is on a buyback, right? So if you see the Care Ratings market capitalization as of today is around 1,185 crore rupees. And if you see the consolidated balance sheet of a Care Rating, and if you take cash on its book, the cash on its book is around 437.82 crore rupees, right? So I'm actually only counting cash, bank balance, current investment, and quotable non-current investment for this, right? So if you see this amounts to 37% of your market capitalization, right? So my question is, why don't we use this cash on Care Ratings book to initiate the aggressive buyback? So if you see, the Care Rating has come up with its IPO in December 2012 at 750 rupees per share. And today at the close of market, the share price was around 402 rupees. So, investor has lost 46% of the value in last 8 years. So basically, our share is well below the intrinsic value of the stock. So this is a good time to initiate a buyback, and we have a lot of cash on our books. So if you see our listed competitor like CRISIL and ICRA, they also initiate the buyback regularly. So if you see, CRISIL has initiated buyback in 2010 and 2015, and ICRA has initiated a buyback in 2017 and 2018. Care Rating has never initiated any buyback despite having a huge cash reserve built on its book. So I would urge board of directors to initiate the buyback to reward the shareholders and to support the Care Rating stock price. Right. This is the first point I had. Now, moving on to Second question, and this is the question on clawing back the compensation and ESOPs provided to previous managing director and CEO. So basically what I want to know is what is the plan for clawing back the compensation and ESOPs granted to former MD and CEO, Mr. Rajesh Mukashi, who still owns 0.6% of equity in Care Rating as of today, and former chairman, Mr. S.B. Bainak. Both of them were forced out of the company for causing a huge damage to its reputation by allegedly interfering in the rating of ILFS and other companies. And we do have a reference in this case. So ICICI Bank, for example, has clawed back the bonus and compensation granted to its ex-managing director and CEO for indulging in non-transparent business dealing. So why don't we also initiate the same strict action to punish the guilty and to recover some of the damages for the company? Moving on to my third question. So if you see our listed competitors, CRISIL and ICRA, both have a strong parentage of S&P Global and Moody's, respectively. And that is helping them immensely in gaining the non-rating revenue. So if I take example of CRISIL, it gets 66% of its revenue from non-rating business, that is from research and analytics business. If you see for ICRA, that number is around 33%. So 1/3 of ICRA's revenue comes from the non-rating business. Now, if I compare this with our company Care Rating, then we also get around 7 to 8% of our revenue from non-rating business, but 99% of our profit still comes from the rating business. So even though we are doing research and analytics work, but it's not actually contributing to the bottom line. And potential reason for that could be that we don't have a very strong global parentage. So what I want board to consider is to look for a strategic partner or even a promoter who can step in and support Care Rating to expand its non-rating revenue footprint. And if you see, CRISIL already owns 8.9% of Care Rating. So maybe there is a potential to have a strategic tie-up with CRISIL for increasing our non-rating revenue footprint. Now, my fourth question is, so our company is also doing the industry research, but our industry research reports are available free of cost on Care Ratings website. So my question is, what's the plan to monetize research like our competitor CRISIL and ICRA? Now my fifth question. So in the last year, FY 19-20, you reported the employee expenses rose sharply by 10.54 crore rupees. This is the year in which your standalone operating revenue and PAT declined substantially by 26.3% to 250 crore and 40.4% to 80 crore rupees. So in the year when our top line and bottom line took a massive hit by roughly by around 26 and 40%, why did we give, why the employee expenses increased for us substantially? So if you compare your nearest competitor, ICRA, right, they actually reported a reduction in their employee expenses, even though they managed to have a flat, revenue year on year. So my larger question here is, why can't we align the employee expenses and ESOPs with the long-term shareholders' value. Even in this year, I have seen your resolution. You have increased the equity capital of the company. You have initiated a new ESOPs. And as I told you, in 8 years, the company's value has gone down by 46%. So shareholders who have invested in this company from the IPO day has lost 46% of the value. Then why are we giving generous ESOPs to the employee at the expense of shareholders, right? Why are we not aligning the interest of shareholders with the interest of employees, right? That was my question. So if you see Warren Buffett, right? Any ESOPs, get salary and commission for the work they perform, and whatever cash they get, right? If they are willing to buy stock of Care Rating or any other company, they are free to do so. There is no need for employees to get ESOPs, particularly in the year where revenue and the profitability of company has taken a massive hit. Even in this year's resolution, I have seen that you have awarded 500,000 options to our new MD and CEO Ajay Mahajan at the rate of 340 rupees. And I actually voted against that resolution. And also I voted against the resolution for increasing the equity capital of the company. I want shareholders to be rewarded first before other stakeholders get the benefit. And my last question is on a CSR spend. So I have seen in your annual report, the company has spent 5.27 crore in the CSR, which is 135.82% more than the prescribed limit of 3.88 crore rupees. So once again, in a year in which companies' top line has reduced by 26% and bottom line by 40%, I don't think we need to be more generous and do more charity. We should first ensure that we maintain profitable growth for our company, and then probably we can contribute additionally to the society. Thanks a lot for giving me opportunity to speak at the AGM. I have raised some tough issues, but my intention is to align the shareholders' goal with the management and the employees of the company. Thanks once again. And I wish you all the best for the future.
Thank you, Mr. Nirav. The next speaker from the line is Mr. Keshav Garg.
Sir, is my voice audible?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yes, sir. So we all shareholders, we understand the financial situation and the economy, the phase that economy is passing through. Sir, but our major concern is not that our sales and revenues and profits have fallen. So the problem is that we are underperforming our peers and we are losing market share, sir. And I will explain how. Sir, if we compare with ICRA, only the rating segment of ICRA, I am not talking about the consultancy or whatever other back office work they are doing for the parent, etc. I am only comparing the rating segment of ICRA with the business of CARE, which is on standalone basis 100% rating. Sir, so in FY18, sir, ICRA's rating division sales was 226 crore and ours was 322 crore. So basically, we were approximately 50% bigger than ICRA in rating segment. Now, sir, in FY19, sir, ICRA's revenues marginally went up, whereas our revenue went down by approximately 10% or little less than that. So, but in FY20, ICRA's revenues fell by 8%, whereas sir, our revenues have fell by a huge over 30%. Sir, so from FY18 peak of 322 crore, in FY20 our revenues have come to 219 crore. So basically from being 50% bigger than ICRA, in 2 years' time, we came at the same level of ICRA, which is 214 crore for ICRA and 219 crore for CARE. Sir, but in the first quarter, ICRA has surpassed us. They have done 44 crore revenue in the rating segment, whereas we have done 33 crore. Sir, so from FY18 level, when we used to be 50% bigger than ICRA, now they are 33% bigger than us in first quarter. So the question is that, okay, economy will eventually recover. But if we are losing market share, that means we might never recover and our competitors will take away the business. Sir, so now CARE, which you, CRISIL, the industry leader, which used to be around 50% bigger than us, now it is more than double our size. Again, only the rating business I am comparing like to like. Sir, so that is the biggest concern of the shareholders, that why only our company is suffering so much and how come our competitors are able to hold up their business. Sir, so and moreover, sir, since our name was fairly or unfairly associated with ILNFS, so but apart from CRISIL, all the rating companies had rated ILNFS, including ICRA. Sir, so then the question arises that why only our company is being punished by the clients or the market, or I don't know, so what is the reason? So if you could explain this, so then shareholders will be enlightened. And sir, also wanted to understand, so that what kind of competition are we facing from Brickworks, Infometrics and Samira Ratings, which is now called Acute? Sir, I agree with whatever the last speaker said, and especially consider a share buyback, sir, because our share price is at an all-time low. And on around 1200 crore of market cap, we have over 450 crore of cash. And if we are paying dividend, then shareholders are having to pay 43% tax, whereas in a share buyback, only 23% tax is there, which is practically half the tax that shareholders have to pay in dividend. And also, sir, dividend is a one-time thing. Once the cash goes out of the market, that is the end of the story. But a share buyback will permanently extinguish our share capital. So the earning per share will increase permanently. Sir, also wanted to know that which are the other areas where we are not present. Sir, for example, in education, institute, ranking of MBA colleges, etc., or accreditation, are we present in this market, or do we have any plans? So what are you doing to stop losing market share in the rating business? And sir, although ICRA's turnover has held up, but their operating profit has fallen drastically, though not as much as ours. So, sir, so is it that ICRA is doing some kind of price war and taking our clients by slashing their prices? So that is why their volumes might have gone up and their sales are holding up, but at the cost of their operating profit. So please shed some light on it. And sir, I just hope that we stop losing market share. And I hope you do a share buyback. And so thank you very much and best of luck.
Thank you, Mr. Garg. The next question is from the line of Mr. Abhishek Verma.
Yeah. Hello. Am I audible?
Yeah. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So basically, I have mainly three questions. So so for this June quarter, no dividend was announced, which is contrary to the historical track record of rewarding shareholder with dividend. So like as others have said that company is sitting on a huge cash reserve. So my question is, why has the company not decided to declare dividend this time, and what's going to be their dividend policy going forward? So that's my first question. And coming to second question, I have regarding the loss in market share. So I have reviewed some brokerage report that says that Care Rating has lost its market share, which is, so what's the reason behind this, and what's the management is, what are the actions the management is trying to take to reverse this? And my last question would be, I've been, reading all the, penalties and fines levied on the company due to non-compliance. Like the recent one, which I read about, was regarding the Arcom case, in which, there was some lapse in documentation. So, what is the management, trying to, prevent these instances from occurring, at least in the future? So that's my 3 questions to the management.
Thank you, Mr. Verma. The next query is from the line of Mr. Chirag Jain.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, Mr. Jain. Please go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah, Mr. Jain, please go ahead.
Yeah. So my question is related to previous speaker. There has been a floor put on the salary given to the new MD. For this year only currently. So I had a query regarding that, why we have put in a floor instead of 1% which we pay yearly. The second one is, what are the corrective steps that we have taken after the recent issues we had, as pointed by SEBI also? Thanks. Those are my 2 questions.
Thank you, Mr. Jain. The next query is from the line of Mrs. Vasudha.
Hello.
Yes, Mr. Vasudha, please go ahead.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay. Good afternoon, respected Chairman, sir, Board of Directors, and my fellow shareholders. Myself, Vasudha from Thane. I would like to congratulate our company secretary for sending the soft copy of the report well in advance, which itself is a clear and transparent. I would like to ask 2 questions. On page number 155, professional fees is rupees 708.62 lakhs. Why so high compared to the last year? Second, on page number 156, bad debts written off is also so high compared to last year. Please throw some lights. With this, I support all the resolutions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Vasudha. I think that was the last question taken up for the day. Yeah, that was the last question taken up for the day. Mr. Shah.
Thank you very much, Mridul, and thank you everybody for the questions which you've asked. A persistent concern which has run through all the questions is about the buyback, that the company is sitting on huge amounts of cash, and would it not be a better option that the company buys back shares, and which would be in the interest of all the shareholders. I must tell you that this is an issue which we have deliberated in the board consistently. And there are also concerns which have been thrown at us as to why we don't issue bonus shares. Now, obviously, the two can't go together. buying back an issue of bonus shares. And what we did feel as a board was that having brought in a new CEO, we should give him a fair chance to implement growth strategies for the firm. There have also been questions about what plans we have for the future. I will mention that also. Obviously, we want to build on our reputation. It has, as you all have pointed out, there have been some concerns, and we would like to do that by ensuring that rating decisions do not go through any sharp or quick downgrades in the future. The focus will obviously be on growing revenues, both in ratings through acquisition of new clients and by actively pursuing new areas of growth like structured credit and stress assets, securitization, and through the subsidiaries in the non-rating business. You will also agree that ultimately the support for all these activities will come from technology and from IT. We would like to have cutting-edge technology as far as rating models and internal workflows are concerned, and we intend to bring in a lot more of artificial intelligence and machine learning capabilities. Finally, we also are very cognizant of the fact that non-rating businesses have to grow, and we are focused on that. The MD has put in place several plans which he has shared with the board, and we are confident that all this will mean better business for the company, not just from the rating bucket, but also from the non-rating bucket. Now, this is the reason why we are sitting on this cash component, and be rest assured that we will constantly look at it and ensure that we take calls which are in the interest of all the shareholders. There have been also concerns about the downward trend and when will we return to normal times. I wish I had a magic wand to bring back those good times immediately for all of us. We are going through difficult times, and like I mentioned in the speech, we believe that this year too is going to be a challenging year, and the impact of what is happening right now will continue to throw its shadow right through the year. Therefore, I would not like to hazard any guess at all, except to say that, look, it won't be for any want of effort on our part. There have been questions also across speakers about where CARE stands vis-a-vis its competitors, its peer companies. We do believe that we are number 2 right now after CRISIL and before ICRA. Yes, ICRA and CARE continues to be the second largest rating agency in terms of rating revenue per se. Yes, a speaker did mention, Mr. Nirav did mention about how these numbers are going down steadily. We are cognizant of that. And please, again, may I assure you and all of the shareholders here that we will ensure that these numbers, which are sliding now, will be restored. We have a huge confidence in our new MD, who, as I mentioned, has come with a lot of strategic plans, and we are sanguine that this should improve our overall financial position. There's been a question also about why don't we monetize research. Now, right now, we are in the process of really, should I say, building our reputation and name, as it were, with the quality of the research which we do. We are doing research on various sectors. We are covering as many as 50 right now, and on the broad macroeconomic issues. This has been used for brand building. Going forward, we will ensure that we will try and monetize on this research too. In fact, one of our subsidiaries, CART, will be engaged in this, and even here, the MD has plans which we are sure will help in monetizing this research. Mr. Nirav also had questions about the employees' expense having increased sharply in a year when the PAT has declined. You will agree, Neeraj, that employee cost is a combination of numbers and remuneration. We have controlled the numbers by leveraging technology, which we will continue to do in a bigger way this year. However, as you're aware, the remuneration in care is not much. In fact, we are at P25 levels when compared to our peers. We have been trying to correct this, and it's unfortunate that the process began at a time when there was a downward turn in the economy and business. But you'll appreciate that staff remuneration and its upward adjustment is in a sense a capital expenditure for the company, and this should help us achieve greater accuracy in our business of ratings. And this is what we had in mind while revising the pay scales. In fact, I will also like to bring in, and I'm sure you're aware, being a regular attendee to the care meetings, that there have been questions in the past as to why your staff costs were so low vis-a-vis the peers. So it is just that we are trying to correct this, and we will be conscious of how we are correcting this. Neeraj had also asked questions about the increase in the CSR. Now, we had contributed to the PM Cares Fund, and the company will take set off of additional contribution in terms of the MCA circular. So this additional expenditure incurred this year will more than be set off in the subsequent year. Keshav Garg, Mr. Keshav Garg also has at length told us about the performances of ICRA vis-a-vis us. I hope my earlier reply would satisfy him. We are ahead of ICRA in the pure rating segment, and we will going forward, improve only upon this and not lose any more market share. There have been some concerns also about whether we are going to take action against those who are said to have been responsible for the lapses. As you're aware, we have appointed an inquiry which is being investigated by a senior retired justice of the Supreme Court. We will await the report of the justice, and may I assure you that the board will take remedial action based on the report which we receive from the justice. Mr. Abhishek Verma has expressed concern about interim dividend for the first quarter not having been given. Yes, again, we are cognizant of this. We have not changed the dividend policy. We are looking at various options for sustainable growth, and we are conscious that the rating business could face further challenges during FY21. So we are having a fresh look at the businesses from a group perspective. With the new CEO having come in, we will formulate strategies for the future growth, and the board will appropriately evaluate the dividend options while considering the results of the subsequent quarters. Mr. Verma also had concerns about the loss in the market share of care. As I mentioned earlier, as per the public data available, we are the #2 player. And when we went through the process of discussing with Mr. Ajay Mahajan, we were confident that this position will be maintained, and give us some time and be a little more patient. We will improve upon this number going forward. Our revenues as of now are still better than ICRA, and they are better than India Ratings and Brickwork substantially. A concern was also raised as to whether the absence of a parentage like the other competitors in this business are having, is it not harming us? We would beg to disagree. We believe that being a board-driven company gives us greater flexibility and maneuverability. In fact, we are truly a local company, which is the buzzword currently, and we don't believe that the absence of a parentage is hurting us in any which way. We have done well so far, and we will do well in the future too. There was a question whether we plan to increase our business. Yes, we do plan to increase our business. Our business development team is looking at various options. And as I had mentioned in my speech, both our subsidiaries who are engaged, the 4 subsidiaries who are engaged, will be also expanding their footprint going forward. Madam Vasudha has at page 155 drawn our attention to page 155 about the professional fees this year having been very high. This year was an unusual year. We had to engage outside agencies for conducting forensic audit. That cost us some money, but the money which we have spent has more than been offset by the suggestions which have come from these external companies who did a study of the rating process, which we have put in place. Therefore, I would suggest that this is money well spent and it will not be a recurring feature. I have tried to answer all questions which I remember, and be rest assured that whatever questions have remained unanswered, or if where the members have been unable to speak, they can still continue to write to us at the email ID available, and we will ensure that we reply to all other questions which have been unanswered by placing it on the website or by communicating directly to the investors. So with this, I would now like to conclude this meeting. The e-voting process will continue for the next 15 minutes and will be disabled thereafter. The result of the voting will be announced on or before September 10th, and the same will be intimated to the stock exchanges and also uploaded on the website of the company and NSDL. We will now wait for 15 minutes till you complete the voting process.
Okay.